Good afternoon. Your meeting is now live.
Right. Thank you very much.
Okay.
As Clerk, can I hand over to you, Councillor Mrs. Cully, as the Chairman of the Joint Committee, to take us through the meeting, please?
You may. Thank you very much, John, and welcome, members and members of the public. If for your information, all of those attending have been checked and are able to speak and be seen, and you're welcome to attend this meeting today. I will just do a quick apologies for absence, if I may, John.
Yes, apologies for absence from Councillor Lee Hunt, Portsmouth, and also Michael Wilson of Havant. We're also short of two other members at the moment, Councillor Keith Evans and Councillor Simon Martin from Fareham, although they may join us through the meeting.
Thank you. Well, we are 4-8, so we will continue. Members, could I ask, has anyone any declarations of interest? And if we could do that in the chat room, please. Okay. Thank you. It would appear none. So we'll carry on with item 3, which is the minutes of the meeting held on 28th of September 2020. Members, and then we'll go on to, can I confirm those are correct? Does anybody, I'll look to you, John, to advise me if anybody has any query on them?
No member seems to be coming forward. I think by acclamation they're being accepted as a correct record. Is that agreed amongst members?
Agreed.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Agreed.
Right.
Lovely. Thank you. We'll go on to item 4, matters arising from the minutes. And if I can ask you, John, has there anything been raised with yourself?
So no one's raised anything with me.
No?
Okay. I'm just going to suggest you may just call them over page by page, and if any member wants to ask a question, then to do so.
We will do that. I'll just get them up in front of me. Okay, members. So we have page 1 and page 2, page 3. Okay. Just to advise that this is in hand, the actual lease extension. This is something that I've queried with John, and we have chased this, and it is progressing. That will be with us as soon as fully prepared. Page 4.
Just to absolutely confirm that point, Chairman, it is progressing. The lease will be obviously completed in the next calendar year, but at the present time, with the present arrangements and the lease, it will just hold over and continue on the present basis of
Thank you.
The two sites.
Okay. Page 5.
Could I just comment under the manager and registrar's report last time, Councillor Martin had asked a question on whether there was any comparisons with carbon emissions with crematoria.
Okay.
So it was just a little update on that. I'd spoken with colleagues in environmental health, and they confirmed that there isn't any comparisons made as crematoria report individually to the relevant environmental health departments. So they don't have figures from any other crematoria to compare. But then, interestingly, in the Pharos journal from the Cremation Society, the latest one, there is actually an article on environmental impact and the green agenda for cemeteries and crematoria. And one of the sections is on cremation, gas versus electric, and it's to do with CO2 emissions. And most recently, they actually did a study, but it was only on Greater London's crematoria. So I'd be quite happy to share that if anyone wanted it out of interest.
Could I ask you, Zoe, if you could perhaps email all members through John?
Yeah.
So that we can have that as an update. That would be, and thank you very much for looking into that today. Members, we're now on page 9 of the minutes. Page 10.
Yes, can I raise something? Dave Strubbling from horticulture.
Yeah.
There was an issue raised about the use of peat in growing bedding plants. I can confirm we don't use peat at all in the growing of bedding plants. All our plants are growing peat-free compost now.
Thank you. I know that was in the report to follow as well.
Yeah, I just mentioned it there because it sort of came with a question there from Councillor Hunt.
It was, and it's very reassuring to us all. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
So page 10, members. Page 11. And page 12. Thank you. We can now go back on to today's agenda. And we're now on, John, I believe, Clark's items.
I've no items that I wish to mention specifically, apart from mentioning that with some sadness that Brian Kidd, who was a former horticultural consultant to the crematorium for a goodly number of years, passed away a couple of weeks ago. It is mentioned again in the in Dave Stribbling's report. Brian served some 23 years, and members will know there is a very nice gazebo summer house within the grounds of the crematorium, and it may be that perhaps we can mark his passing in some way next summer, something of that sort.
Thank you, John. I actually went and had a look at it yesterday when I was up at the Memorial Gardens, and the plaque is it's still very legible, noting his term of service to the crematorium garden. So I think that would be quite fitting. Members, are you content that we would look at something later in the year to enhance our summer house in the respect of Brian Kidd? Yes.
Yes.
I'm not
agreed.
hearing. Agreed. Lovely.
Yep.
Thank you. We can go to item 6, members. Finance strategy and budget for 21-22, and to Kate, please, to do the report. Kate Busby.
Thank you, Chairman. The first report is the finance strategy. It's the annual review of that document that we present it to the Joint Committee. There are no significant changes within the document itself this year. It refers to the fact that we've obviously been in an extraordinary year and that we had an emergency budget set in September along with the COVID response report. It sets out last year's cremation numbers. As you can see, we're consistently high. I think we were ranked 5th in the country this year, in the last calendar year. It sets out the Capital Works Fund and the Capital Programme. They're set out in a little bit more detail in the budget report. So the finance strategy is recommended for approval.
Thank you very much, Kate. Members, do anyone have any questions to Kate on the finance strategy and budget? Just give a couple of minutes and we'll...
No one appears to be indicating they wish to speak, Chairman, so I think again that's approved.
Yeah. Thank you.
We move on
Okay,
to
so
item
if we go
7.
to the recommendations then, members, please, which are report to be approved, that's A, and that the finance strategy 2021-22 sent to be the constituent authorities to note, bear with me, excuse me, page. Could you just finalise that last line for me, John, if you please?
Yeah, the finance strategy be sent to the 4 constituent authorities to note for their information.
Thank you. It went off the edge of my page. Members, are we all agreed?
Agreed.
Agreed.
Lovely, thank you, and our thanks to
Agreed.
and the team for the hard work on that report for us. Thank you, and it looks like we're in a steady position for the future years ahead. So thank you for your good services on that. Right, members, I'm going on now to item 7, which is the budget report. And that's back to you again, Kate.
Thank you again, Chairman. Yes, it's the annual budget setting report time. The report, it's quite lengthy, and a lot of the extraordinary information that we reported back in September remains relevant. There have been some slight changes to the revised budget, nothing significant. And the base budget for 21-22 is set out in summary in paragraph 9 and in further detail in the appendix to the report. The reasons behind different budget adjustments are set out. Supplies and services has gone up by quite a large amount of money. This is because of largely as a result of the introduction of the Obitus system, where our customers are receiving enhanced visual and musical tributes. We obviously incur that cost as the agent, if you like, in providing those services. But our expenditure is recouped from the money that we receive from the customers directly. So that's fully reflected in the budget, based on a reasonable estimate of what we think will be for the rest of the financial year. This time next year, we'll have a much better idea of the level of uptake and the amount of expenditure that we'll incur. But as I say, hopefully that budget is set to reflect the cost to us over the rest of the year. We also have the payment to the constituent authorities within special expenditure, and the capital programme and revenue repairs expenditure as well. Review of fees and charges. We haven't recommended a cremation fee increase this year. CPI is running obviously at very, very, very low levels. And also our customers are, although they're receiving more services with the enhanced visual and web tributes that are available to them, they still bear that as an additional cost. So being mindful of that, and as I say, the low CPI indices that we're seeing, we're recommending that we don't actually increase the cremation fee next year. It doesn't affect our ability to set a balanced budget. It doesn't affect our ability to pay the constituent authorities. So as I say, that's that proposal. The appendices set out the revenue budget, and then we have the fees and charges, cremation fees, and then the capital works programme is set out Appendix D. I'll happily take any questions if anybody has any.
Thank you. John, have we had any indications?
I'm not seeing any members with microphones turned on. Anybody that wishes to ask a question, please do so. I think that Chairman's inviting members to speak. Everyone's still there. I think
Yeah.
if members haven't got any questions they wish to ask, I think we just go to the recommendations and ask members to.
If I may say again that it was expected with the additional changes with the pandemic, you know, the effect that would have on the programme here, and I feel that it's laid out extremely well, and I feel that the clarity that you've given us with that report is probably why we haven't got any questions for you at the moment, Kate. So thank you very much for that. Members, if we can go to recommendation A, that the capital works programme as detailed in Appendix D be approved. If I can take these all on block. B, that the Joint Committee approves the proposed cremation fees and other charges as set out in Appendices B and C from the 1st of April 2021. Recommendation C, that the proposed revenue account estimates as set out in Appendix A to the report be approved, subject to the Joint Committee's decisions in respect of the recommendations A and B above. And finally, D, that the Joint Committee considers writing to the leader of each constituent authority to advise them of the annual payment to be received from the Portchester Crematorium Joint Committee in 2020-21 and 2021-22. Members, I'm asking you to vote for those on block. Can I see if there are any people against that, if we're going to all go for or abstain?
I don't think anyone's abstaining. I think members, we're taking it that silence is acclamation if you approve the recommendations, and if not, please speak now. Kathleen Jones, I think, is popping up.
Okay, Kathleen.
Oh, I just wanted to say I'm for. It's a really good report, and I'm really impressed by the fact that, I don't know whether you know, I work for a parish priest, so we do. I was up there a little while ago with the funeral. I think all that you've done during the COVID has been quite amazing, and it was a safe place to be in. So thank you for that. And also for the videos. One person said I couldn't possibly have a video because they're going to charge me £1,000. And I think I mentioned it at the last meeting, that the fees for that are really nothing like that. And I'm sure we can encourage more people. And it's a funny old world, isn't it? But in this day and age where you can have a keepsake of a funeral, which would have been unheard of a few years ago. So thanks very much for everything you're doing there.
Thank you very much, Councillor Jones. That's very much appreciated by all the staff, I'm sure, and very much reflects what the committee's aims are, that we provide an excellent service at a cost that covers just the essentials and projects for the future. So that's well done. Anybody else wish to speak on this item, on those recommendations, please? No? Sorry, John.
Over to you, Chairman. Go on.
Thank you. I think we'll take that as 4 then, members, as we've had no other acknowledgement on that one. Thank you. We're now on to item 8, which is the Portchester Crematorium Coronavirus COVID-19 response, the autumn update. John, I believe you're going to introduce this one.
Just very briefly, Chairman and members, just to say this was a report that Victoria and I put together, setting out really what the current situation is at the crematorium, following on from the very comprehensive report that you had back at the September meeting. And you will see from this report that a number of the steps that had to be taken up until September, they're all still remain in force. And this report really sets out the position, bringing everyone up to date. And I'm sure Victoria will be quite pleased to be able to tell you of any other initiatives that she's been taking to complement what's here. And also looking forward, of course, over the coming weeks with Christmas, of course, upon us. And the large numbers of visitors who always want to come at this time of year to pay their respects in the grounds. So on that note, Chairman, I'll hand over to Victoria, I think, to amplify other aspects of the report, if I may.
Thank you. And that was a question I was going to ask, if we're having to put any extra measures in for the expected influx of visitors over the Christmas. So over to you, Victoria, the manager of the crematorium. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. So if I take you to the actions taken since September, since the last comprehensive report. So we did enter a second lockdown on the 5th of November, and the crematorium was required to close except for funeral services, the scattering of ashes, appointments and visitors to the gardens. We did that and came out of that period on the 2nd of December. We do have the new multimedia system, which we've touched on. So we have the Orbitus system. Extremely pleased since the installation of that. It's gone extremely well. We've had very good feedback from service users and funeral directors on the, I suppose, the quality of the music, the visual tributes that people now have access to. And the webcasting, obviously, we had before, but we've maintained through Orbitus, which has really helped during the pandemic for people who are unable to attend services due to the restrictions. Next point would be our garden clearance storage facility. So that area is now completed. We have some temporary signage up. We do have permanent signage due to be installed. We have actually had some feedback. Somebody called to the office to tell us that he was extremely pleased with that area, as opposed to the small room at the back of the South Chapel, which was our main concern really, is during the pandemic and the restrictions, we need a safe place for people to be able to collect their items. You'll see from 4.9, it said it was at the time of the report the clearance was due to take place, so I can confirm the latest garden clearance has taken place. The items that we cleared in March and August were disposed of on the 7th, and we have done another garden clearance, and it's those items that are now in the garden clearance area for collection. And on 4.10, the book room refurbishment is underway. So the temporary book room we have in the South Chapel waiting room, as that's closed for use as a waiting room. And we've put as best signage we can to direct people. We've had the occasional question, but on a whole, it's been well received. People are still able to view their books. And we have the same restrictions we had in the book room. So there's a limit on people. We have the hand sanitizer on entry and exit, and a one-way system around as well to view the books. And touching on the point of the busy period, I have just had a discussion with John regarding, we know that particularly Christmas Eve is an extremely busy time for people visiting the gardens with wreaths, and we are still open for funeral services on Christmas Eve. So I did have a discussion with John to, I suppose, pass around some ideas on what we may do, if we can maybe look to direct people to park in particular places to avoid a crossover. It may be we consider signage to discourage people from what we would call peak times with services. So yeah, we pass some ideas around on what we may be able to do, as we do know the volume of visitors to the gardens will increase, and we do still have services. So we will do what we can to minimise crossover with advice and guidance for visitors.
Thank you very much, Victoria. Yes, I must say that as I was visited the Memorial Gardens myself yesterday, and the comment from I had a couple of members of the family, and everybody felt how much cleaner and tidier it looked without the plastic, and that has been a significant improvement. But people are still able to pay their tributes, but we know that they can collect and take them away again after that short period that we've brought in. Thank you very much. I'll ask members if anybody has any questions to Victoria on the update there. Members? Or comments?
I don't have any questions, but just a comment to say thank you that, you know, for the work you've put in on this and what has been an absolutely horrible year, a horrific year for some people, and you've still managed to be able to make it, you know, so that people can go to services and can still be respectful on this. So I just want to say thank you to the, you know, to the staff and everyone involved in that.
Thank you very much, Councillor Ashmore. That's very much appreciated by all, I'm sure.
Yes, thank you. I will make sure that's passed on to the staff as well. It's good for them to hear.
Absolutely. Any other members? I think it reflects from the information you've given us back from the directors and from Councillor Jones, saying how the media system has improved our services offering to the public, and in these times that's enabled so many more members of their families to, you know, attend in that virtual way. So that's been timely that we've succeeded with that. Thank you again for all the hard work, and maybe we wish that you will get some relief and time off over after Christmas Eve. Okay, members, we're now on to item 9, which is the Portchester Crematorium Risk Management, and I believe Kate Busby you're going to present. Over to Kate Busby, please.
Thank you, Chairman. The report sets out the risk management framework and the policy document. They're subject to annual review by the Joint Committee. I know that over the past year, we faced many more day-to-day risks, if you like, but fundamentally, they don't really have a huge impact on either the framework or the policy. They remain the same. I have included a specific reference to public health, but apart from that, there's very little change to those documents. I think our approach has served us well as it has been demonstrated. And as I say, it's really been about that day-to-day risk, really ensuring the best health and safety for our staff and those people coming to the crematorium. And these documents are supported fully by risk assessments that Victoria has carried out. As I say, it really, there is no real fundamental change to those two documents. And then what I've done at Appendix C is just set out a few updates on the biggest areas of risk or opportunities that we've had in the year. There's an update there on the multimedia system, which we've alluded to in the previous reports, and also the garden clearance. It just documents the actions that have been taken in managing the potential impact of those things. Business continuity, refer there to the appointment of Victoria, and the fact that that's been managed in a really good way. And obviously she's coped with the COVID-19 pandemic in a new working environment. But the team there have done really, really well, as you've previously said. And then finally, ongoing is a review of the cremation plant and the water feature. The technicalities of that really lies with the staff concerned, but we'll all, as I say, take a rounded view as to where we go from in the future and bring that back to the Joint Committee as and when we're ready to move those items forward.
Thank you very much, Kate. Members, does anyone have a question or comment on this aspect, please, the risk management? Just give you a moment. Just check chat that we haven't got anybody waiting in there.
I can't see anybody wishing to speak. The microphones are still switched off as appropriate. So I think taken.
Okay, we'll go to the recommendation.
To the vote.
Members. Sorry. And that is recommendation 1, that the risk management strategic framework and policy as set out in appendices A and B of the report be approved. And recommendation 2, that the risk management progress report set out in appendix C to the report be noted. So members, unless someone indicates that they have an objection, I shall take that we are approving and noting. Are we okay?
Yeah. That's taking that as both recommendations approved, Chairman.
Okay. Can I give thanks to all the officers who have produced those reports? They're very, very well laid out. Thank you for the hard work that will have gone in and for helping us to make sure that the public can attend and the staff are risk averse. Thank you. Item 10, members, this is the Building Works and Renewals programme, and we're going to Ian Cousins, please, to present.
Thank you, Chair. Give you an update on the repairs and renewals programme. In essence, in the period under review, we've looked at the key projects to support the operation of the CREM. As has already been pointed out in reports, work's been carried out to allow for the installation of the new multimedia system, not just within the chapels, but significant work is done to the music rooms, which are the back of house area where the staff work and ensure those services delivered. We've also completed the garden clearance storage facility that's been talked about, as well as further works on the cremator security to provide security to the space to ensure it meets modern standards. Works have now moved on, and as you've seen elsewhere, the book room has now been started, so that's a refurbishment of the space in terms of all of the finish, desks, etc. in there. But another key component of that is the provision of areas outside the actual book room where flowers can be kept, rather than damp water, etc. in an area where we've got the delicate books. We'll be moving those flower memorials to outside the room. So those are the key points of the report. If there's anything anyone else would like to ask on that, I'm happy to take any questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ian. Members, does anyone have any questions regarding this report?
I think silence, Chairman, on that basis. It's the report is noted.
I believe we can safely say that, and with our thanks again, Ian, that we've been appreciative of the photographs we were sent of the updates to the works, to the chapel, etc. So thank you very much for that, and the multimedia room. And we look forward to the forward works as we go forward into the new year. Thank you. If I can go now back to the manager and registrar's report, please, which is item 11, and we're back to Victoria Hatton, please.
Thank you, Chair. So yeah, we have our update on our monthly figures and cremations. Just to note that to the end of November this year, we have 3,232, so we've actually exceeded last year's total cremations already, with still a month of cremations, which I think was expected given the period we went through for the pandemic. And on the disposal of remains, we still have a lot of remains being removed while there is restrictions on scatterings with numbers and people wanting to wait for a time when they can have some sort of celebration along with scattering and memorial and things. So that's understandable. Although we are getting disposals in the grounds, and we have cleared a lot of the backlog that we did have after we had to suspend appointments. We did write out to all of the families with ashes returned, and a lot of them did get in touch to either inquire about the appointments and restrictions or to make appointments. So just about keeping people informed. as to what's available, and then they can make that decision as to what they're happy to do with the cremated remains. And separate to the report, the recycling of metals charitable scheme, we did get confirmation from the ICCM that our donation to the Rowan's Hospice of £10,000 will be made. It's been approved and authorised for payment on the 21st of December this year. So we're getting that donation.
Thank you very much. That is excellent news, isn't it? Members, does anyone have any comment on the manager's report? All deathly silence.
I think again, as no one has indicated they wish to raise a question, it's again take it that the report's noted, Chairman.
Thank you. And again, with our grateful thanks to the manager and team, and we will note the report with our thanks and our good wishes. One thing that we will have to bear in mind is where we would like our next recycling of metals. So I'm sure John will contact us all in due time to get us to put suggestions forward on that.
Yes, Chairman. We'll wait until we receive the invitation from the ICCM, and at that time we'll write round, because we then know what the timescale is to which any submission needs to be made.
And so today we're going to note that we are approving that donation to the Rowan's Hospice, and I'm sure they are very much appreciative of it. Thank you. If we can now go to item 12, which is the horticultural consultant's report on grounds maintenance, please, and that is Dave Stribling.
Hello there. Yeah, as you can see in the report, we've carried out a lot of extra works, planting some shrubs and trees, bulb borders being restocked, and around the pond area. As I said earlier, the bedding is growing peat free, so we're all green on that. I've got nothing to add unless anyone's got any questions on that, really.
Thank you very much, David. Members, does anyone have any questions on the horticultural report or comments?
Silence.
So just unmute and say yes, I want to speak if you do. I will just say I thought it was looking extremely good yesterday, David, and our thanks again to yourself and Brightstone for that work that's gone in there, and look forward to the spring bulbs coming up. Yeah, I'm sure.
Thank you. I'll pass the message on to the staff.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sharon.
Thank you. Okay, and maybe we now go to item 13, which is date of next meeting, which is Monday the 22nd of March at 2 p.m. And I'm guessing we're still probably going to be virtual in March, John, unless we get any vast changes over the next 3 months.
I think we'll have to wait and see how things develop. We clearly need to have a meeting at that time, and one of the reports that will be brought forward hopefully will be the annual review of the development plan document, which I think everybody's familiar with. It's looked at every 2 years, and we've normally done that in March, so we'll be working on that, bringing that forward. And if there is any change and we're not meeting as we are today virtually, then we'll fix up an appropriate location, which I think we've all accepted over the last couple of 3 years, has been to meet at the crematorium itself.
Thank you, John. Members, I think it just leaves me to say thank you all for your attendance, and may I wish you, your families, and everybody listening in to us today a very Merry Christmas and a happy and healthy New Year. And our grateful thanks again to all the staff for enabling people to take the necessary actions during this troubled year. Thank you again. And if any member wishes to just say anything just before we close, please indicate.
No, I'd just repeat what you said there and wish everyone a happy Christmas and a prosperous new year. And once again, thanks to everyone involved in the crematorium there for your hard work in what has been a challenging year.
Thank you very
And
much.
I'd like to just reiterate that as well. Thank you very much, and wish everybody a peaceful Christmas and a happy New Year.
Thanks, Councillor.
And the same from me, please, as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Turner, and all the best wishes to you all. Thank you.
I'll just briefly reciprocate and say on behalf of the officers, Chairman, and to you and the members, we wish you indeed what you've wished us, that is, you know, peaceful time, and that perhaps next year things will look a lot better.
Yes, we can but hope. Goodbye, everybody. Take good care. Thank you for
Bye-bye.
Goodbye.
Bye.